Every day for the last 66 years, John Freeman has been on the water by 5 in the morning fishing for blue crab. He fishes in an area of the Chesapeake Bay near Newport News, Virginia.
Right now it's awful. Not good at all.
Freeman says his pots, years ago, would yield 40 crabs. Now they come out of the water with just a few. Between high oil prices, fishing regulations, and a dramatic reduction in the crab population, he can barely survive.
We're not really making any money. We're just surviving.
The fishermen are not the only ones facing hard times. Graham and Rollins is a large crab processing plant where fishermen bring their harvest for sale. It's also a family business. John Graham III is company president, the fourth generation of Grahams in the plant.
This year I'm doing anywhere from 600 to 800 pounds a day, but normally with my workforce I do 1,500 to 2,500 a day. So I'm off by over a half.
Here, blue crab is steamed. Its meat is picked, processed, frozen, and sent to supermarkets and restaurants around the country.
I'm not really sure how we're going to manage to get through this winter with zero production.
A meager harvest and government restrictions on fishing in the Chesapeake Bay led the federal government to declare a disaster in the blue crab fishery. The declaration will make the industry eligible for funds, if Congress approves them, to help crabbers and processors survive a period of reduced fishing. Jack Travelstead is Deputy Commissioner of the Virginia Marine Resources Commission, responsible for managing Virginia's fisheries.
The population has declined by 70% since the mid-1990s. And in spite of us placing 22 different restrictions on the fishery, it has not rebounded, it has not responded. 7 out of the last 10 years, we have harvested more than the safe level of crabs.
Travelstead said Maryland and Virginia have ordered a reduction of more than 1/3 in the harvest this year to help the blue crab rebound. But he says more than 5,000 families will feel the brunt.
Here in Virginia, we used to land on average about 40 million pounds of crabs per year. Now we're down to about 20 million pounds. It's our biggest fishery in the state. It's quite valuable, up around $50 million in a healthy year.
Travelstead said the latest regulations also include cutting the fishing season to 9 months, protecting female crabs, expanding a spawning sanctuary, and increasing the size of escape rings.
The huge crabs, because the smaller ones can escape out of the coral rings.
Virginia police officers Dave Rabin and Doug Thompson enforce the regulations. They say the regulations have been hard on the watermen, but they have to ticket violators to allow the crab population to come back.
You maybe want to keep more than you allow.
Overfishing is only one of the problems. Scientists say the blue crab's habitat has been largely destroyed. At the Virginia Institute of Marine Science, Professor Ram Lipsius is an expert on blue crab.
I would say the most difficult challenge is the massive environmental degradation that we've seen.
He says pollution, climate change, and the loss of seagrasses have left the blue crab unprotected.
What we have here, we're testing the effectiveness of this new plant that seems to be taking over parts of the bay. It's called gracilaria. As opposed to a seagrass, it's a macroalga, so it's like a kelp. And these apparently are very good for crabs.
Lipsius and his team are also trying to determine if blue crab hatcheries could help increase the population. He and his colleagues have worked in the sanctuary, releasing thousands of juvenile crabs into safe areas. Professor Lipsius says some fish in the bay are now almost exclusively feeding on blue crab. He says crabs are resilient, but if things continue this way, they won't survive.
If we see a day when the blue crab collapses, that to me is when the environment is at its worst, because the blue crab is so resilient that it's made it through all these hurdles, and so we really need to restore the environment, the ecosystem.
Professor Lipsius says recovery efforts should focus not only on the blue crab, but on cleaning and restoring the entire Chesapeake Bay. For producer Zulima Palacio, I'm Marissa Melton, VOA News.